everybody. Welcome to the show. Turn this off. Welcome to episode 113. Hope all is well for everybody. I'm not that great right now. I'm getting over the flu, and my throat is just a little, some coughing and shit. And then my depression, so that ain't helping. But overall, I'm kicking. I'm here. We're just living it up. So haven't done one in a while, and I'm glad to get one done, and hopefully it'll boost up my spirits. So let's just get to the next guest, shall we? All right, guys, we're back. For you guys, it'll seem like it's just 1 week, but I actually haven't done one of these in a while, and even at the time of our next guest, I wasn't even really looking for a new guest. Bullet, don't jump on stuff. But I really wanted to tell her story, and she's a really nice person, and just want to give you a quick disclaimer. I am getting over the flu, so you may hear me chewing on a cough drop, and my voice may not be the same. But anyway, so our next guest, like I said, I found her on a Facebook group, and she reached out and told me a little bit about her story, so I wanted to have her on. So you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Kathy. I am a retired RN on disability, and so I don't really want to, put my full information out there.
Right.
Although I am retired now, I'm still on the, a member of the nursing board. So, I have to be careful about that. But I have a left arm amputation. I've had it since 2009, and it was due to IV drug use.
Yeah, she was telling me this, and actually, the irony of it is my mom she is a nurse currently in Philadelphia, and she gets a lot of people, obviously, with drug problems, and but one of the things that I've gotten many times because of dealing with my depression and all that, and when I was in my worst of days with my anxiety, my panic attacks, I would go to the emergency room a lot, and then she's a nurse there, but I also know half the people that work there as well because they went to school with her.
Sure.
And it gets very frustrating when you go for mental health issues because they automatically have to test you for drugs. And I've never done drugs in my life other than stuff that was prescribed to me. But yeah, I mean, they do so much blood work and they don't believe you because they just think you're crazy or what have you.
Yeah.
And it's all related to drugs a lot of times is what they think it is anyway.
I have, since about the first year or so after the amputation, I've been very open and honest with my doctors. Maybe before that, I don't even know, but, I remember telling my doctor, well, no, actually it was over a year. My surgeon that did my amputation saw a needle mark in my arm and asked me about it. And I told him that we had student nurses and that we let them practice on us.
Right.
So, and that is not unheard of.
Right. I thought that was a good excuse when you told me that one.
Oh, hell yeah. It worked.
Before you go on, can we go to at least the beginning of it because we're kind of skipping a certain part.
Sure.
What was it that made you want to get on drugs, and then obviously what kind of drugs were you taking?
I initially, long ago, back in my, I had just turned 18 and I met my first husband, and he was a junkie and a Vietnam veteran, and I was way younger than him,
Mm.
And and I fought him tooth and nail on it. I would allow him to take pills. I would take pills. Um, but the needle was a whole different thing to me, you know. And so eventually divorced him over that and, you know, stealing and blah, 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 you know. Little did I know that many years later I would do the same thing. Um, my, um, let's see, when I got married the second time, um, our marriage lasted for 32 years, but this was back in, let's see, we'd probably been married about 20 years, maybe something like that. And, maybe a little bit longer, but, things had gone bad. You know, it wasn't an affair, on his part. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a total incompatibility. And, so, um, we started having marital issues, and I got on um, Ativan, which didn't help. So I moved to Xanax.
Yeah,
Okay, and that
Ativan for a
was,
lot of people, that's the stuff they give you when they need to calm you down in the emergency room. A lot of times, that's what they end up giving you.
yeah, yeah, they'll give that IV, but
Right.
the Xanax was through my doctor, and that doctor was just a friend of mine. I had known her through my daughter's friend, and you know, she was my doctor, my physician at the time, um, and that was, you know, that was fine. I didn't get on any pain pills or anything like that through her. Um, I started working at a local hospital, and I knew the doctors, you know, um, and they trusted me, and I trusted them. I had broken my ankle about, let's see, in '94, I think it was, and that was before I started nursing school. So, um, and that was, you know, that was causing me a lot of pain when I was walking, and, you know, concrete floors and all that. And in addition to the anxiety, depression from the marriage, you know.
That seems kind of like a recurring theme for a lot of people when they get hooked on, especially on pills. It starts from an injury, and then they get prescribed
Yeah,
it to, numb the pain, and then they end up liking the pain or the feeling so much that they, exacerbate their injury even longer and say, well, it still hurts. And then at some point, you're just 2 years or whatever into this addiction. And even when the doctor tries to get you off of it, you end up just continuing to find ways to get it back.
yeah. The weird thing was that I mean, after I broke it, it was a triple fracture. So, after, you know, it was pretty bad. And after I broke it, I got off of the medicine, you know, after, I don't know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long they normally keep you on it, but, um, and
What was that
also,
withdrawal like in that time when you were off it?
nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. No, nothing. Because I wasn't addicted. You know, I was just taking it for pain at that time. Um, and I actually, opiates made me sick to my stomach. And so I minimized it, you know. And then, let's see, it was years, you know, several years later that I graduated nursing school. And I'm 61, by the way.
Okay.
So I was a late bloomer as far as college went.
That's okay.
But um, I walking on that ankle hurt a lot. You know, doing 12-hour shifts, and you know, and then in addition to, like I said, the anxiety and the depression of the marriage, and nursing is anxiety ridden anyway. you know,
Right.
you've got a lot on your shoulders, but and it's not uncommon for nurses to get addicted. Um, it's not a good thing, of course. It's not a good thing for anybody.
Yeah.
But
I think it's part of the reason why they had those systems, and I know because of my mom, where they have like certain compartments where it keeps track of all the medication that's
oh
around, and
yeah,
it's like implemented into the system, and when one goes missing, even if it's one pill or something goes missing, they pretty much know that it's gone, and that's when
that
people
can be
start getting.
bypassed.
Go ahead.
That can be bypassed really easily. Especially, well, I'm not going to give away my trade secrets, but it was something that became a very bad habit of taking um, meds from patients. You know, now I this isn't justifying it, but I would hang on to them in case they needed them,
Right.
and that it would still be within their time frame of getting them. So I wouldn't actually. I guess that's my way of justifying it, but I wouldn't actually deny a patient pain meds if they needed it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, in going through the things that I was going through, and um, the pain and the anxiety, and just just always felt like I was a wreck. And um, I had given many IV pain medicines, many, and I had one patient in particular, and I don't know why, um, that her reaction stuck with me. But anytime I'd give her pain medicine, her IV pain medicine, she just she was a real sweet girl anyway, but she would just relax,
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that's got to be nice, you know.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't take the whole vial. Her dose was not the whole vial. So um, we're supposed to waste it with another nurse, like to um, document that was not, that was not used,
Mm.
in another way. So, but nurses are busy, and you say, well, I gave this patient half a dose, and I had to waste it. Can you sign it for me? And they do, because it's common.
Right.
Not good. um, so I would end up with um, pills and vials in my um, scrub pocket. I always wore my jacket, my my lab jacket, and so that they couldn't see through the through the pocket. And I was never caught. I think that I was suspected, but never found out, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
um, at any point, I was I had separated from my husband, and technically we were back together, but I was travel nursing, and I had gotten home from work and tried to shoot something that shouldn't be shot, and I also hit an artery. That's what the I eventually told the surgeon, what happened, but um, that's what we figure happened is that I hit an artery. Plus it was something that shouldn't have been injected.
Right.
Um, so immediately, I had the worst searing pain I've ever had in my arm, and um, I mean, I sat there for probably about a half hour, and I was trying to move my fingers and watch them turn blue and then black, and I thought, damn, I got to get to the hospital, or I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't thinking clearly. I do well in nursing emergencies, but I don't do well with my own.
Yeah.
So I drove myself in excruciating pain to a urgent care, like I thought they could do anything. And the doctors immediately said, we're calling an ambulance. We'll get your vitals, and which hospital do you want to go to? So I just ended up with a fantastic um, um, sports medicine orthopedic surgeon as well as a vascular surgeon. So they gave me, I can't really remember. I think it was probably about 9 or 10 days to try to restore some blood flow. I had um, 3 or 4 um, um, surgeries to try to release the pressure, and it wasn't working. So they were trying to restore some blood flow below the elbow because it's easier to use a prosthetic that way. But they couldn't do it. So, I mean, I was like, okay, good. I get pain medicine the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
mean, that was the mindset. It was sort of a grief, but combined with a joy. It was like, yay.
Yeah.
But of course, that pain medicine stopped after a while, and that's when I went into withdrawals. And um,
Had you had lost part of your arm yet, or are they still
yes,
work? Oh, okay.
yes,
So you already were
yeah,
aware of that happening.
yeah, that happened in October of '09, and I went to rehab in May, I think it was 2010. Um, but I didn't stop.
Right.
I came out and went right back to my doctor that I had where I was living at the time, where I was separated, from my husband. And, went back in. He said, man, what happened? I said, oh, man, I don't even know what I told him, but he gave me my usual uh, drug meds, you know, um, the opiates and the benzos. And he was an actual drug doctor, and I didn't know that when I moved there.
Yeah.
Um, I picked I picked the doctor closest to me, and I went in there, and I thought, holy crap, you know,
Yeah.
there's a full parking lot, a full waiting room. You pay cash. Whew. So I mean, I felt like I hit the jackpot. You know,
Yeah. I think that
um,
was part of one of the problems that you not getting caught at work, because I think if you would have, it probably would have given you a
oh
bigger realization of, obviously you would have been humiliated, but also
oh yeah,
you
my
know,
family would have been humiliated. I mean, that probably was my worst fear.
yeah.
My family, my family didn't know, and I didn't want them to. They knew that there was something wrong, but they didn't know. They didn't know what was wrong. So, um, I did end up telling them, obviously. And I don't know. Is there anything you want to ask me between then and now?
Um well, I mean, when was it that you actually like realized you had a problem? I mean, obviously you kept doing it after you lost your arm, but
Oh,
when
I knew I had a problem long before. I'm sure that I overdosed. Just didn't die. Um, when I was shooting at home. Um, I would I'd sit on the end of my bed and turn on TV, and this would be right after I shot. And um, the next thing I'd know, I'd wake up with my legs still on the ground, but my back on the bed.
right,
Just and and I have back problems anyway, and that's another issue. That's another pain issue.
Yeah.
Um, but I've learned to live with it, and um, now, okay, yeah. Let me go back to asking: is there anything that you want to ask me between now and then, other than knowing that I had a problem?
Well, I mean, well, I should ask, what, like, how much of your arm did you lose?
It's right above the elbow.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's just right above the elbow.
Okay.
So because the inner elbow, which is called the antecubital, is where was where I was shooting. So anything below that um, lost blood flow.
And you have that, forgive me, I forget what it's called. You told me the other night where you can still feel the pain and or feel like there's a
Phantom pain.
limb there.
Oh gosh, yeah, and it's 24/7.
What's it called again?
And phantom pain
Phantom pain. That's right.
or phantom limb pain. You know, I, I've had it since, I don't know. I don't know if it started right after. They were keeping me pretty medicated, when I was still in the hospital. So I wasn't feeling a whole lot, except good. And um, then when I left the hospital, I was still on a lot of opiates. I was still on my usual, or some of my usual benzos. And, I never bought street drugs except for some weed now and then. But, um, as an older adult, I never bought street drugs. So, I don't know. It was, I would say I probably still used pills. I never did shoot again. But I probably still use pills for another 2 or 3 years just because of availability and, the fact that I was honest with my doctors. And so they knew that, okay, well, she wouldn't tell me this, that she, you know,
Yeah.
was still wanting drugs, So, and obviously I was in real pain.
Yeah.
The surgical pain in, I guess probably 6 weeks after, the phantom pain for me has lasted forever. And this is where I'm at right now with it. I am working with 3 different pain doctors, but they're not drug doctors.
Yeah.
they're interventional specialists. So the main one I started working with was Andrew Porter in at Chillicothe, Ohio. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name.
Yeah, sure.
He's wonderful, wonderful. And there were some things that I had researched that I wanted to try that he doesn't do. So he found me to, the 2 doctors that do those things. And one of them is ketamine infusions, which ketamine is I guess they call it a party drug, but this is done under a, like it's almost in a operating room,
Mhm.
and it's done under surgical or under a multi medical care.
Right.
There's a lot of people in there, and so the first time I had it, it was funny. It was like I remember singing and laughing, and they were laughing at me, and the next thing I remember was waking up in my room, and The second time I had it was a little bit less, which I've heard that it does lessen over time. I have not had a third one yet because I moved, um, and I have to, try to reschedule everything and all that. So um, the next thing that I wanted to try was it's called targeted muscle reinnervation, reinnervation, which is TMR, and it basically takes the nerves from um, that are causing the phantom pain because my arm, my my phantom pain recognizes that there's a problem with my hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brain thing, and that's what all phantom pain is. So it knows there's a problem. It's sending a signal saying, "Hey, there's something big wrong." And so that's why I have it. Now, some people don't have it, and it just depends. Some people have it intermittently. Mine is pretty much all the time. So it feels kind of like if your foot was asleep and waking up from a really bad, from a really bad sleep, or like thousands of bee stings, something like that. It's a very, very, very uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes there's actually pain where it feels um, like bone pain or something like that. Um, but most of the time it's just phantom pain, which is the nerve pain. Um, and so these doctors that I'm working with now, the TMR is they take the nerves from the amputation and direct them to a different part, to a different muscle. So they have a muscle to go into. And the doctor that I'm working with now he's I think it's a Navy retiree, and he works for Ohio State University, and he has worked for Walter Reed and doing this exact same thing. And he's also done the ketamine injections as well, but he's not licensed in Ohio yet to do those. So anyway, his name is Dr. Souza, and fantastic. His nurse practitioner also is a specialist in this, and this is supposed to be a really promising procedure.
Yeah.
It is surgical, and there is pain, and there are narcotics afterwards that this doctor knows. And he asked me about it, and I've had multiple surgeries. I've had since my amputation, I've had 4 limb replacements, so I can take medicine now without overusing it.
Do you wear
And
like some sort of prosthetic? Do you just leave the stump
no,
out? Like how do you?
I went through occupational therapy with the prosthetic, and it is, since it's an above elbow, it has like a brace that goes around under my other armpit, and it holds it on supposedly, but it slips a lot and it makes unpleasant sounds. And and also with a bad back, it just didn't work for me.
That'd be
They
hard to
couldn't match
carry.
my they couldn't match my skin color. I'm a redhead, and I have kind of a reddish skin tone, and so the closest thing they could get was pretty pale.
Yeah.
And I wore it on a plane one time, and it set off every alarm, and I had to be frisked and all this stuff. And I thought, nope, never again. So it's a good Halloween prop, you know.
Right.
I I put fake blood on it and hide it in the bushes and everything, and put candy in it. And, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
it works good. And most of us amputees have a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Once we get past the initial shock and you know, um, just the pain of it all and everything. So anyway, I have not yet gotten to this procedure, this TMR procedure, because of the move and just everything,
Yeah.
trying to work out insurance and all that. So
But it's good that you
uh,
still are like seeking a better life. Like you're not just letting it
I
go.
I went on a mission last year. I was sick of it. I was absolutely sick of the phantom pain. And I got on this amputees group, and I found out that that was a big issue. And I thought, I'll do clinical trials. I'll do anything if it helps me, if it helps anybody, because not everything helps everybody.
Yeah.
I did have good results from the ketamine, but it's a short term, and it's also a party drug. It's medicated. So I want to get away from that, even though it's under doctor's care.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get away from that if I can. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I live alone. I'm divorced now, and I keep 3 dogs and myself alive every day. So
Did
that's
you
pretty much.
did you have any moments like because and I could say this in my case with the mental health stuff. Did you have any cases where you were like fighting yourself in a way where you're trying to give out signs? Maybe like the kid who's being kidnapped or a girl and she writes help on the window in her steam. Like was there like certain parts of you like I know like when I'm in my worst cases mental health wise I may not come out and just tell everybody, oh, I got a problem and I'm suicidal or I'm anxious or whatever it
Uh,
is that I'm worried about. But I may have a weird post or something years ago on Facebook and I put that out as like a flag for people to go, we better go check on him. Like, did you ever really try to
I've never been
subconsciously?
suicidal,
No, I don't mean
never.
that. I mean as
And
far
well, no,
as,
no,
uh,
no, just that. But
yeah,
the, I don't think I ever did. But I would text my daughter and her friend at like 4 in the morning, just gibberish,
uh,
and they didn't know what the heck was going on. And also, when my daughter got married um, in 2005, so and that was during the time that my husband and I were separated and trying to work things out and blah blah blah. And we lived in the same. My daughter and her husband and I lived in the same city, and I was getting ready to move, and we went out to eat, and she said I was singing real loud in the restaurant, falling asleep. I know I had a lot of sleep driving, and got pulled over several times, but because I was a nurse,
yeah.
um, they wouldn't ticket me.
That's why a lot of like my mom does it when she needs to get to work fast. She leaves her stethoscope in the hanging off the mirror, um, the rear view mirror because then when the cops go to stop them, it's like, oh, you're a nurse. Okay, I understand.
Well, yeah, I would do that, or I think one time I had I worked night shift, 12-hour nights, so I would come home and sleep. If I was going somewhere like out of town, I would come home and sleep for a couple hours and just leave and whatever I had on. So I know one time I was leaving and going to visit a friend, and I still had my badge on, and the cop was like, "Man, I hate sticking a nurse," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Thank you." and it happened, and I wrecked my car. I don't know how I'm not dead or how I didn't kill somebody or
Yeah.
hurt somebody. I didn't, you know.
When did your family find out about your problem?
Um, let's see. I think about a year. Well, they did know that I was on drugs. That I had a problem.
Mm.
They didn't know what. They didn't know. They didn't really know that I was actually quote unquote on drugs. They just knew that I had something going on. And so, about a year, I think, after the amputation, I don't know, for whatever reason, I told my husband, and he said, well, you have to tell our daughter, and you have to tell your parents. And I'm like, no, 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 no.
But what
And
was your
he
other
said,
excuse? Because you did get amputated. So
um,
what was the other excuse you
the
used?
the um, the student nurses,
Oh,
the
you used.
student
Oh, okay.
nurses,
Right.
yeah, drawing blood, or you know, just trying to hit a vein, and they do that. They do that. It does happen, but um, it doesn't usually cause blood clots down, in the lower arm. I wouldn't think, but the doctor knew. My surgeon knew. He knew. He
Yeah.
just he just didn't. He asked my family multiple times, and they all said no, she wouldn't do that because they knew about my first husband, and you know. Um, but when I did tell my daughter, um, it was rough. It it we've had a rough relationship for a long time. But we repaired it before she had children, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
um,
Because
and
when
I
we first met, that was the first thing I noticed. You had your
Yeah,
arms, which come to find out was your grandchildren, and I know
yeah,
that's like the best part of your life right now. So
that's my life.
them and your
and
puppies.
my dog
Yeah.
and my doggies. Yeah. Um, my ex-husband, strangely enough, I wanted to move here like 9 years ago before my first grandson was born. My ex-husband would not move, and strangely enough, he moved here about 4 months before I did. So, but we're good friends. We get along well. He watches the dogs if I need him to, if I go out of town or something.
Yeah.
We're friends. We have no reason not to be. I don't see any reason for people to be hateful to each other.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, I do get to keep my grandsons now, which I wouldn't have any other time. Um,
Did you ever
my
blame
daughter.
your daughter for like wanting to keep
Oh
distance? Because
no,
obviously, yeah, I mean, she had a legit reason, and obviously,
no,
if
no,
she's gonna
no,
bring kids into this world, she doesn't want their grandmother, doing
no,
certain activities behind her back.
no, absolutely not. No, everything's my fault.
Yeah.
I don't blame my ex-husband. I don't blame the doctors. I don't blame my first husband. I don't, nope, it was me. Um,
Yeah.
Now, can I put some blame on the depression and the anxiety?
Sure.
Yeah, but he's not the one that made me. No, no. I mean, I married a minister. you know,
Yeah.
my second husband's a minister, so it's like, nah. He didn't push me to do that. I did it myself. No, I don't blame anybody.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good that you can take a long look at yourself and be honest and not, pass the buck on others because you could easily do that. But obviously, if you were to have a relationship with your daughter and eventually become, when she were to have grandchildren, you would want to be in their lives. You would actually have to 100% be sober, and you would have to admit everything you did, not only to her but to yourself, because
Oh
otherwise you wouldn't
goodness.
be having the relationship that you have now.
Right, right. Well, she came to my house one time, and I don't know if you know how medical marijuana is sold or anything, but there's some syringes that you fill a cartridge with.
Okay.
And I had that out when she came in, and she thought it was a, she thought that I was shooting, and I was like, oh God, no, no, no,
Yeah.
it's not that. And, she knows I smoke, and, she's okay with it. She doesn't want me to be, too messed up. It doesn't do that to me anymore. I've done it for so long.
Is it more for the pain and just the anxiety?
Um, yeah, I think so. I think so. There are pain properties, pain relief properties. Ohio, well, I just said where I live. Ohio doesn't allow anxiety, marijuana for anxiety for
Right.
some reason, or
Right.
depression.
Or you're
So,
saying that you're one of the states that doesn't have it for medical use.
well, we have it for medical use. We have
Oh,
it for pain. There's PTSD, pain.
you can't be prescribed
Uh,
it for anxiety and depression.
right,
Okay.
right,
In some
which
states you
is
can.
absolutely ridiculous. And I don't understand that, but at least I'm legal, and you know, it's okay.
Yeah. Do you ever like still like yearn or chase that high that you used to get?
From weed or
No, no, no.
from?
From the when you had a real problem
Oh,
with
do
other
I ever
drugs.
crave it? Do I
Yeah.
ever crave it? Sure, sure. But like I said, I've had surgeries. I've had both knees replaced, and I've had my only shoulder, well, my good shoulder replaced twice.
Right.
So, and that's from overuse, because I use it for everything.
Right.
And
So you've been tempted many times, just
well,
you
I
never
mean,
went there.
my doctor, he gives a week at a time, a week of pain medicines at a time. If I were to take too many, by the end of the week, I'd be hurting bad. So, you know, I don't want that, and I don't want to be addicted again. I mean, I guess I could say I'm always an addict,
Right.
but I don't want to be actively addicted.
Right. So how long would you actually say you've been clean? I mean, minus what you had to take for surgeries, from
Um,
when you actually had a problem till now, how long do you think you've, like, if you had a,
Probably 2011.
oh, so 11 years.
Yeah.
That's a long
Well,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe, maybe not quite then, but pretty close.
Yeah.
Because I started back to work then, and I just, you know, I didn't start back as a nurse. I started back as an instructor for medical assisting,
Yeah.
and then I lucked into a job that um, eventually led to a nursing job, a desk nursing job.
Mm.
So, which eventually I did, um, retire from because of multiple disabilities, not just the arm, you know.
Yeah. When you were back doing that, was there any kind of guilt that you felt for, obviously all the
Um,
rules you broke?
well, of course. I mean, there's always guilt. I live with it. I live with the pain. I live with the guilt of doing the wrong thing because I'm not that kind of person. Not I wasn't raised that kind of person.
Mm.
Um, Although I'll say, and you asked me if I'd ever blamed anybody. I don't blame them, but I have an older brother, and I heard all my life how good he was and how bad I was because I was the one. I don't know. He just was studious and stayed at home, and I was always out running around and didn't care about school, and
Right.
just getting into trouble. And I mean, I played around with drinking when I was a kid, a teenager, but anything further than that was, didn't do. But I was labeled the bad kid at home. So, it that was hard, I'd say,
Yeah.
I think that kind of plays with your brain a little bit. Um, and
Yeah.
even, I even told my mom, I said, Mom, I heard that all my life. What'd you expect? I was kind of kidding, but it's reality. I mean, if you beat a kid all their life, they're going to beat their kids,
Yeah.
probably. And, I mean, but I don't blame them. I made the decision. I made the decision to do what I did, knowing it was wrong, going beyond drug use to stealing drugs from patients, or from the hospital.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes you have moments where, you don't really realize how much something has an effect on you until later in life, and it just kind of hits you out of nowhere, and something that was said in your past or whatever kind of just echoes in your head, and you're just like, geez, I guess that really did fuck me up more than I ever could have imagined.
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty fucked up, or I was anyway. Um, I'm doing okay now, and I lost my mom back in December, and still have my dad. His birthday was yesterday, and so I'm happy to have them or have him, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man, and he'll love me no matter what, But
Yeah.
he doesn't even like me smoking weed. He's like, "You never smoke that," and I said, "Dad, it's going to be legal." He said, "I don't care." So anyway,
How hard do you
you know,
try not to let your addiction or your past addiction define you? Because obviously there's times where, like with your daughter, saw that syringe and it's like, oh, she's back to what she's doing again. Because obviously you're right. Like an addict usually is always an addict, even if they're 1,000 years clean. But
my
how
daughter is my hardest boss. she
yeah,
is she is my hardest manager I've ever had because I take care of her kids,
yeah,
and she's my last boss was really, really, really bad. But I know that, and I love my daughter dearly, and I know that what she does is out of love. Um, Tell me your question again. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's one of my
No,
problems
no,
is memory.
you're fine. I just wonder, because that's got to be something that is echoed in the back of your head, whether it's other people's actions towards you or even just yourself, as far as not letting your addiction define you, because it's something.
Okay.
It is the biggest thing that happened in your life because it caused an amputation and it impacted your life for a long time. But
Um,
how do you not let that define you, or is it something that you feel that you'll
see,
never
there's
escape it?
no, uh, I'm not a drug addict now. I don't define myself as that. I for a long time, up until probably about the last year and a half, maybe two, I didn't tell anybody what happened except my family, and a couple of close friends. And then when I actually, yeah, it's been about a year and a half. It was after I retired. Um, Anybody asks me, I tell them, what happened. And if it helps one person, and I know that's a cliche,
Yeah.
but if it helps one person to not do it, um, or to take the chance of overdosing and killing themselves, um, it's worth it. And I look at it this way: I saved my life, or this saved my life, because like I said, I had overdosed. I know I had. I just hadn't overdosed to the point of death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody has to have their bottom and their moment, whether it's
Yeah.
addiction or mental health or something that's just impacting your life negatively, you have to have something that kind of just puts you, like, just, gives you the little defibrillators and just wakes you up, because
Yeah.
you're going to continue to go
No.
down. And that's why one of the reasons why I asked you earlier about just, was there any signs that you were trying to give out to other people? Because there's always a part of you in there that's just like, oh my God, I got to get clean. I gotta get out of this. I got to stop being so depressed, or I got to stop being whatever it is. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you shoot up a flare just to just hope somebody sees it so it can help you, because you're at your worst, but you just can't stop the train from going in the direction that it's going in.
Right. Right. No, it was bad. And, I mean, it wasn't always shooting up. If I had pills and nothing to shoot up, then I would take the pills, But, I always, and I wouldn't do it at work. I do it driving home from work. So it would hit me about the time I'd get home. If it was pills, if it was the needle, obviously I'd wait till I got home. Well, not obviously. I guess people do it in their cars now, but, I do feel it saved my life, because it stopped me from doing it.
Yeah.
And, I feel like now that I can tell people, what happened, and that's why I'm doing this. And that's why, I joined the amputee site on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I did tell my story on there, because most of them, now, this is where I feel guilty. I feel guilty because I caused it.
Right.
And a lot of people caused it or didn't cause it. They happened because of cancer or accidents or,
right.
infection or whatever. And that, I can't say it's guilt like it eats me up, but it's a knowledge that I did this to myself,
I don't know how much it matters, though, in the grand scheme of things. I mean,
no,
because at the end of the day, you have an amputation, and it is what it is. The only person that has to live with it is you. But I think a good thing is for you is it's a constant reminder of what you did and how bad life can get if you continue to do what you were doing, because you're lucky it was only one limb and not multiple, or you're lucky you're breathing. You're lucky the problems that you do have right now could have been way worse
I'm
from
lucky
what you were
it's
taking.
my left arm and not my right arm too.
Right, there you go. So
so.
It's the sacrifice you had to make for your actual salvation, like for you to actually be happy and try to get out of this horrible place you were in. You had to lose a limb to do it, unfortunately.
Right. And I am independent. There's some things I know aren't safe to do. But as far as living on my own, I'm independent, and, I appreciate that. And also, let's see, I was going to say something else. I forgot. This is an issue. It's a lasting issue.
Right. No, it's okay. But I mean, the fact that look, you still do have one arm, you still have both legs, and then, being on that Facebook group and out in the world, you've seen people that are way worse off than you.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, we have a guy right now in that group that's getting ready to die, and he wanted to die.
No.
He didn't want to be an amputee. He's got diabetes. He mistreated his diabetes, and he's dying.
It's terrible.
So, and I've met a lot. Well, not a lot, but some good friends on that page. Have you gotten any other responses?
From some of the other pages, yeah, not necessarily from that one, but from some other one. There's that one that I think it's called like Disability Entrepreneurs, and I've gotten a lot of guests off of there. I know the guy who runs it. He's from the UK. Yeah. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was going to say about the guy you were talking about, it's sad because this is not something most people would want me to promote or even say, but I understand how he feels and why he feels that way, because I don't know, there's a part of me that understands why the hell would I want to go through this? And I don't even mean just an amputation. I mean anything in my case, your case, and any other condition that's just so much mental and physical pain that you have to go through, sometimes some people just don't feel that it's like worth it to go through it. Now,
Oh,
I do, but I understand how someone gets to that point where it's just like, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be amputated or, have no limbs or whatever his problem is. I don't want to deal with
yeah.
cancer. I don't want to deal with whatever it is. And I just want to die. And it's
Yeah,
sad,
I've just
but
never felt that way.
no,
Never.
I,
Thank
yeah,
goodness,
for the most part,
because I
me either,
probably
but
would have
yeah,
done it.
no,
I
I know.
probably would have done it,
Yeah.
And I know the other thing I was going to say, and this may not be a popular opinion, but I am not a fan of the 12-step program, and the uh, just the whole. I don't know. A lot of the the tactics they use, you
Yeah.
know, in rehab, and you know, they had me so messed up on something different than I was taking to get me off of that.
Yeah.
And then I got in trouble because I was falling asleep in the meetings,
Yeah.
and not wanting to go down and eat because I was wanting to sleep, and they were giving me stuff to make me sleep. And it's like, and the 12 step worked for some people, but not for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
everything, though. I mean, there's people that church is everything for them. There's people that, weed is everything, alcohol. There's people that just,
right.
dieting. There's how many billion different diets there are. Some people
That's
can lose a
true.
shitload of weight and the next person can gain weight on it because it doesn't work for them. And I think
That's me.
and same way with them with the mental health stuff. There's so many supplements. There's so many, people tell you to exercise. Everyone has a different method, and some methods work for you that don't work for others. And obviously the 12
Right.
step program is the most popular when it comes to drug and alcohol,
Mhm.
recovery. But for you, that's not the way you went about it. But you got to where you got to by doing it the way you felt would work. So I mean,
Well,
yeah,
I can say that when you go to the 12-step meetings, like the local meetings, you're either going to get help or you're going to get help. You're going to get help quitting, or you're going to find somebody who can find you something. And they're always there. you know,
yeah,
they're my actual sponsor showed me Vicodin one day because it didn't look like what she was used to. She's my sponsor, you
hmm,
know, and she's throwing my pills in front of me. I mean, her pills, but what I love, one of the things I love. And, I mean, that's just, nah, it doesn't work really. I mean, not for me. But anyhow, I did quit, and I'm glad, and my family's glad, and my family is the most important thing that keeps me alive.
yeah. And I'm sure when you get to look at those grandchildren, like that's the
Oh
high
God.
you can chase now, where it's just their happiness because obviously grandma's not around anymore. That that upsets the boundary of the family.
Oh, yeah, that's my daughter keeps saying, they would know. They would know, and they would, they love you and they feel it. So,
Yeah,
and I would never do that to them. And um, I mean, I want to keep them. I'm the happiest. I moved here in January. I'm the happiest I've ever been.
oh, that's great.
And, I am on medications that this pain doctor, um, he wanted to address the phantom pain with antidepressant type medications. And so he worked with my psych nurse practitioner as well in deciding what to prescribe me. And so I'm on a kind of a variety of things where um, before I was on, like one or two things, but now these things are supposed to work together to help the phantom pain. So they're not,
Hmm.
but we're trying. So
It's all right. You're trying. That's all that matters. At least you're going in the right direction.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's probably a little better than it was, but
yeah. But I mean, you're again, your happiness. You're happy, so it's all that
I'm
matters. And
happy.
it may not be perfect, but it never was anyway. So,
Hey, right. Exactly.
yeah, I thank you for coming on. I don't know, is there anything else you wanted to say? I didn't want to cut you off.
No, just if anybody has an issue and wants to reach out, you feel free to somehow give them my information.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had anything to promote, but I could always.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to just help them through an addiction or an amputation or whatever.
Yeah, well, when the episode comes out, gets close, I'll get some information out of you and put it in the link, and
All right.
but yeah,
Sounds
thank you.
great.
I'm very happy that you're obviously sober, but also just happy. That's always the most important thing, and obviously,
Yeah.
if you need anything, you're more than welcome to reach out.
All right.
And we'll keep in touch. And like I said, thank you again for coming on.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I'm sorry for my shitty voice and how I'm feeling, but there we go. There's the cough that I coughed a few times, but I muted it, and so now you get to hear my cough. I know that's something you all wanted. Bullet wasn't laying here with me, but he's now in his little cat tree. I don't know if I've mentioned on here, I built him a cat tree. Well, I mean, there was directions. I didn't just make it out of scratch. But he's up there. He's relaxing. He's happy. And I started taking these serum tears. I'm just giving you a quick little update on me. These blood serum tears where they compound the blood, whatever else is in it, with some saline. And I shoot it in my eyes four times a day. I shouldn't say shoot because that sounds like a needle, but squeeze the bottle. There you go. I still have to take 2 more today, and so I take about 14 drops in my right eye by itself. And that was Bullet yelling, "You all right, buddy? What's the matter?" Oh, he went up to the final stage of his cat tree. The very top part is his tower. That's where he sleeps. That's bedtime up there, and then nap time is in the little basket area that he sleeps on the cat tree. There's a condo, and that's what they call it, and a hammock. So he's got a whole little setup. But he did his little stretch, and now I guess the area that he was laying on was just his. That's like the lookout spot where he looks out the window because it's kind of leveled with the window. But the top part, the tower, that's his like bed. But anyway, but yeah, so I'm taking those drops and many other drops, and just trying to keep my mind right. And it's up and down. Just been feeling depressed and lonely, and whatever else is new. But I'm still kicking. So what are you gonna do? And I watched that show Euphoria, and that show fucked me up because that's also something similar to this topic with her, because lots of drug use and depression. So, but yeah, thank you guys for listening and continuing to go on. Like I said, I haven't done one of these in a while because I don't know, just wasn't feeling it. And I wasn't feeling it. I don't want to get so far ahead either. I don't want to have 300 guests lined up and then, I can't, I have to start putting them out 2 a week, or I have to, I don't know. I don't want to get so far ahead that I can't tell people when their episode's coming out because I really don't know. Because I've had this episode done for months. Like when this episode comes out, it'll be like at the end of, it'll be towards the end of 2022, and just because I've had it done for months. But anyway, guys, I have to cough. I want to get out of here. I hope you all are well. Everybody look out for each other as best you can. And, somebody's going through something, try your best to lift them up. And if you're happy, stay happy. But if you want to, help bring people to your level, because, that shit's infectious. When you're happy, you can really keep it, but also invite others to what you're going through and allow them to be happy. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish, people, please. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I feel like shit. I'm probably not even going to hit the right button. So I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Yay. All right, now I'm going to hit the right button.